Totally been there, done that, learned my lesson way too many
I
times.
always forget. It is like, oh.
Okay, hi guys. I am Alissa Bilyeu, and I got started in this business. It'll be 4 years in February, which is so stinking crazy. So I found this business on social media, on Facebook. I had met Tiffany Herr, who is my sponsor, at a baby shower, and we just hit it off. Like, we sat at the same table and we just totally hit it off. And so we ended up adding each other on Facebook. And I would say maybe like a year later, she started the business. And whenever she got started, she was like just blowing it up online. And I was like, what is this that she's doing? And I was so intrigued by the skinny wrap, and I had never heard of it before. So I was like, what is this? So I actually maxed out our last credit card to try the wrap. And I was like, this better work. Like, it better work. I'm like ready to feel good. And so I got my wraps in, and I used one and I didn't see any results. So I used a second and still no results. And so by the time that I used my third wrap, I finally like compared my before and after pictures, and I was like, whoa. Like, this is crazy. And I instantly saw a business opportunity. And, I wasn't looking for the business. I guess, like how we always say, like, people don't have brain cells for this. And that was me. Like, I did not have a brain cell for it. Like, if someone would have messaged me, I would have been like, what are you talking about? But once I saw my before and after pictures, I was like, this could be really huge. And, at that time, we were so broke. We were living on food stamps, government assistance. We actually had $5 in the bank the day that we started this business. So I had to sell stuff on a local garage sale site to even purchase my kid. And it was like one of the lowest points in my life. Like, when I didn't even have that $100, I was like, something has got to change. And so from there, I just jumped in. It was just ignorance on fire. We had no stinking clue what we were doing. All that we knew was to fill steps to success and wrap as many people as we could. And so, my first month I went Ruby, and I was just like, I was calling people, I was wrapping people. We lived on a college campus, and like, I took such advantage of that. And I didn't know anybody. I had a couple girlfriends in sororities, and so I would like call them all the time and be like, can I come and wrap you guys? And so my first initial like wrap party was at a sorority, and I was maybe like a week and a half in the business. Show up with all these wraps, and they thought I was bringing food, like turkey and ham, like wraps, like food to eat. And I was like, no, this is not what I have. And so they like sent their house mother to go get cash. I think I ended up making $400 in wrap cash that night. And that for me was so stinking huge. We had nothing. We had no money. And like every month we would wait for our food stamps, like for that money to hit our card. That was all of our groceries. Like our family lived like an hour and a half away. We could never go home unless people gave us gas money. And so like holding $400 of cash was so stinking huge for us. And that for me, I was like, okay, all I need to do is just like keep on wrapping people. And I would wrap them. I like didn't know what else to say because I had no clue what I was doing. And so my first month I ended up going Ruby, and then my second month I went Emerald. And I'll kind of go over this. I know you have a question about like getting to an event and conference, so I'll cover a story with that later on. And then 4 months in I went double diamond. 7 months I went triple diamond. 1 year or 11 months to presidential, and then 2 years to ambassador. And then also Michael is a presidential, and then now we were gifted with that 2.0 account, which is also a double diamond account. So we've earned, I think, over like $500,000 in bonuses, and life is just so stinking different. Like, it just is so crazy. And I think for me, a lot of people don't realize that I didn't start working social media until I was about a triple diamond. And I was a blogger before. I was a lifestyle blogger, and I had a really huge following. And I just, like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. And so I just didn't post on social media because I didn't know like what the heck I was doing. And so I was like all belly to belly for 7 months. And I was wrapping people. I was having opportunity events. I was doing team trainings at Ruby level. I just was like rocking it out, and I didn't know any different, which is crazy. Like, we didn't have team pages. We didn't have anybody like training us. We just kind of figured it out on our own. And so now, life is so different, and it's just so beautiful. We're able to live debt free, and we retired my dad and bought my mom a car in cash, and we travel the world. And Harper is able to, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. Michael didn't either. And we didn't grow up with people telling us we're so great. And like, it just is so incredible to see Harper growing up with this life, like knowing like giving back is just a part of who we are. And so now, like, monthly, we give back more than what we used to make in a year. And there's so much that has just shifted for us in the most incredible way. And it's like, we're in love with this business, and it's just truly is life changing if you just, you put the work in. And it wasn't easy to accomplish what I've accomplished. So I don't want to jump on here tonight and like make it seem like it's rainbows and butterflies, because it isn't. But I'm telling you, if you fall in love with it, and if you work it every day, and if you learn by your mistakes and just keep going, then you will see true success in this business. So that's a little bit of my story.
I love it. I love hearing your story. So you said you really didn't even work social media until you were like a triple diamond.
Yep.
What would you say like your biggest, like, if you were to say, okay, my business grew the most when I was doing belly to belly, or my business grew most when I was doing social media, or like getting out and blitzing, or it's just like, a combination of everything. Like, I know you.
Yeah, it was definitely a combination. I feel like, I didn't know, like, I didn't come in with someone like teaching one or the other. We just kind of knew, like, we had to do it. And like, for me, I was like, I have to do what I need to do because I'm ready to like go to the next level and to change my life. And so like, there would be days when I would leave our apartment. We lived in an 800 square foot apartment on this college campus, and we had a baby, and I would leave with her on my hip, and I would be like, I'm not coming home until like X amount of blitz cards are gone. And like, blitzing terrifies me. Like, even still today, I get like hives. Like, I'm just an awkward person, and so I'm just like, whatever. But I do it anyways, because like, I know that there are people that I'm going to meet when I'm out and about that they're not even on Facebook. Like, they haven't checked their Facebook in 3 years. They don't even like. They're not on social media. They don't care about it like we do. And so I know for me, I've recruited a lot of incredible people, and I've met some amazing people by blitzing. And same thing with wrapping people. You just have to talk to people and ask people. And I used to look at blitzing as like this like huge scary thing. And it's like Tony Robbins, like, he teaches this analogy where it's like, okay, like, I used to look at it as like blitzing, like standing over me, and it's like this huge scary thing, and it would totally freak me out. But whenever I shifted that and I looked at it as me standing over blitzing, and I was like, how would I want someone to come and approach me if they're handing out a coupon? And like, take that out of it, of like you overthinking what other people are going to say or do or think. Because if someone did that to me, I would think nothing of it. I would say thank you, maybe ask some questions. And, people do tell me no. And I definitely still, every day, whether it's messaging or blitzing, people still tell me no. And I just learned that whenever I go out and I search for more of those no's, that's when I blitz more people, and I talk to more people, and I get more information. And so, same thing with wrapping people. I would wrap people all the time. And like, even still, I still wrap people all the time because they know I always have wraps, because my business is always opened. And for that, whenever I'm meeting up with someone, or just, if I'm talking to someone, like, let's say I'm at Target, even still, I have a planner that I carry with me. And so like if I'm talking to her, I'll open it and I'll be like, you know what? I actually just had someone cancel for Friday afternoon. If that works for you, I'd love to come and wrap you. It's only $25. And I used to do that when I first got started. Even though I had no one to wrap, I would make it sound like my schedule was full. And then everyone, like, it's like everybody would be like, oh my gosh, like all these people are rapping, I should rap too. I mean, that's just is how we work. We're like, if someone else is doing it, I want to do it too. And so that's how I would fill my planner. I would fill it with rap appointments, and same thing, with rap parties. And so I would make it like, it's like the hottest new product. Everybody wants it. I actually just had a spot open up. Do you want to go ahead and fill it before someone else does? And they would say yes. And so then I was making rap cash, and we put that into the envelope system and paid bills with that, and then saved the rest. And then I was just enrolling customers, distributors, and it was like truly like I don't even know like how it happened, but it did.
I love that so much because I mean it's like getting into like the top hair person or the top masseuse. Like you can't get in. So I just had an opening. Like you get on the cancellation list. I love that. That is so smart. So you get out and blitz, even though it's terrifying. I mean, I was just talking to one of my triples yesterday, and we were like, it's a no if you don't ask. It's always going to be a no. So get out and blitz. Yeah. So what would like a typical day look for you? I know I have 2 kids, so I definitely know like I don't have a typical day. I have like non-negotiables. I try and get in like, or not, I try and get in, like I have to get in. So do you have things like that? I do this every day, regardless of what I'm doing, even if I have to stay up an hour late, like that type of thing.
There are things, I used to have like a schedule that I would follow, but for me, like that was just messed with me. And so I do have like a list of things that absolutely get done no matter what. And that is, making sure that people know that my business is open. So that's messaging people, it's texting people, getting people on the phone, meeting them in person. I have like a daily checklist that I use, and it just has things like connecting with my top 10. So every month I have a top 10 of people that I'm working with, whether it's new people or maybe they've been in for a couple of months, but I have that top 10 and I'm working with them daily, and we're in a group chat or we're texting, we're jumping on calls. And then I have the same top 10 for my leadership. So the top 10 people that I'm working with for leadership as well. Same thing. We're in a message, we're talking, we're on calls. So those are like the biggest things for me, but also self-development is, that is, I wouldn't be here without doing my self-development. And it's something that I think it's truly is, I am the person that I am today because of the self-development that I've put in. And I started doing it very quickly. I don't even know how, like looking back, I don't even really know how I got into it. But I was working really hard, and I was like mentally, it can be very exhausting to build a business, and you don't even realize that until like you're so deep into that, which is, that goes to my story about getting to an event. There was a point in my business where I wanted to quit. I was exhausted mentally, and I wasn't doing self-development at that time. I guess it's not something that people talk about, which is crazy. It's so stinking crazy to me. And so I do that morning and night. And I also do my morning miracle, or my miracle morning. I always say it backwards, which is like waking up an hour before everyone in my house and doing things like visualizing my dream board, meditating, journaling, reading, exercising. There's like if you just search that, you'll see the schedule that he has, and I love doing that. But just taking care of me always comes first, and then because if I don't take care of myself and my mind, then I can't take care of anybody else. And so once I get all of that done in the morning, I will do my business self-development in the morning, and then a devotional in the evening. Because if I'm laying in bed and I'm reading a business book, like I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to be up all stinking night. And so I always try to do, I start the day, with my Bible app, and then I'll jump into one of my books, and then I'll get to work. And so I use an app. It's called Focus Keeper. There's a huge study behind it of, breaking up your time into 25-minute increments, and just how that works with your mind and the things that you can achieve during that time. And so it's something that I use daily, whether it's for my business or around the house. And it's called Focus Keeper.
Write it down.
Yes, Focus Keeper. It's awesome. And so, like, let's say I'll set an alarm for 25 minutes and I'll spend that time messaging people. And then it'll go off and like tell me that it's done. And then it will start again. And that's when I'll do something like I'll work on adding people and connecting with people online. And then I'll spend time connecting with my newest distributors, my top 10s. I'll spend time, doing some recognition and then recruiting as well. So all of that gets broken up into different time. And, that has helped me so much not feel like a crazy person. There were times building up to ambassador, I was working like 20 hours a day, like you know how it is, like it's nonstop. Like I remember when I was promoting to ambassador, I like couldn't even dress myself. I was so like physically and mentally exhausted. Like I was just done. Like I had nothing left. And so, doing that really helps me keep track of my time. And it helps me not like do busy work. So we get stuck like in the scroll hole, or, we spend time doing things that we don't even realize takes up so much of our time. And so like when I bring a new distributor in, I'm like, you have X amount of hours to work, you told me, but let's keep track for the next 5 days of where your time is going, because there are trade-offs that we can make. That like, instead of like when you're driving to work, instead of listening to music, let's turn on an audiobook. Or instead of binge watching TV for an hour and a half, let's do some messaging. Let's jump on some calls. Let's watch a training. Like, let's just break that time up. And so really keeping track of where your time is going, you owe that to yourself. And it can slip right through your fingers without you even realizing the hours have passed. And you're like, what the heck?
So true. Okay, so you just kind of answered personal development. I know you were like big personal development, and I actually was the person that was like, I don't need personal development. I'm good. Like, thanks. But I may listen to an audiobook every now and then, but I'm not going to read, and I like don't need any of that. And in May, Pam said something. I don't even know what it was. It was just like in passing, and it changed everything. And I am personal development now, all about it. But okay, so this is not a question I had on there. Okay, so you went to Tony Robbins' thing, his event. What was your big takeaway from that kind of pertains to?
Gosh,
I know there are probably like a million because he's amazing.
I literally let me show you this.
You have like a notebook of notes.
You have no idea. I just did like a training with all of my leaders. Do you see this? It's like a whole notebook. It's like a workbook that you get. But I filled this sucker up. Like there is not every single page is like notes and notes and notes. I learned, I feel like I went there for just so many different reasons. I feel like for Tony Robbins, you have to be like mentally ready for that. You have to be open for it. And I was in a really good place to go. I was just ready. Like I was hungry and ready for it. And, the biggest thing that I took away is just I always have just told myself these BS stories. I would just make them up in my head, and it was my story, and so he was standing there, and I was sat in the front row of the second section, and he was screaming in my face, and I needed it. I was like, this is crazy. And he was like, I want to tell you a story about one of my friends. And, her mom was 13 when she got pregnant and had her. And so she grew up and she swore that's never going to be my life. They were homeless so many times. They would go in and out of food banks just to eat. She would go days without eating. And, when she was 13, she was raped by one of her family members. And she got pregnant. And she was like, man. And so she carried the baby full term, and then she delivered the baby, and it was stillborn. And so, and he was just talking, and he was like, do you guys know the friend that I'm talking about? And at this point, I was like, I have no idea. And he was like, Oprah Winfrey. And I was like, what? Like, I seriously had not a clue. I never knew that. And he was like, that isn't her story. Like, that's not the story she tells herself or the story that she tells anybody else. Her story now, like, her story is impacting the world and empowering women and lifting women up and showing them like they're worth so much more. And like, that isn't her story. It could have been. Like, there are stories that I used to tell myself, and those could have been my story. Like, that could have been my story forever had I not gone to this, you know? And so that for me was just huge, because we all have stories that we tell ourselves, and a lot of the stories we don't even realize because it's just so like instilled in us. And you know, whether it's about business or like your life, your personal life, or whatever it is, there's always a story that you're telling yourself. And so when you break that, and it just like completely has transformed my life. And I just feel so free from doing that and just not filling my life with these like stories that I tell myself.
That is so awesome. I looked over and was like, I have chills. That's awesome.
It's so crazy.
I mean, amazing. So you started out your own food stamps when you got started. A lot of people were kind of wondering, so auto ship's tough to get that, $100-ish a month to run your website. How did you were doing wrap parties, so you were getting cash in your hand. Were you putting that money right back, investing it right back? How were you like running your business while being brand new? And, most people start this because they don't have the extra money. How were you getting that extra money, I guess? Wrap party?
Yeah, so I was definitely selling wraps, and auto shipment for me, it's not a non-negotiable. I feel like how can I expect people to buy the products that I'm not even taking myself, And when I got started, I didn't even realize like it was an option to run it or not. And so the first thing that I did before I even saved any of my wrap cash is I got enough to cover my auto shipment and my website, and I put it away with the card that I knew it was going to be coming out of. And I just did that repeatedly every single month. And I think I was maybe an emerald. I might have been, an emerald to double, because that happened super quick. I probably didn't try products until how to do. And so, for me, selling wraps was so huge. But I know, before bucks, my first Ruby check, I remember I think it's one of the most. We're very blessed and I've had amazing checks, but that first Ruby check was everything to me. And it just showed me I am doing something right, and this is working and it's blessing us. And from there, there was a point where I didn't have to save wrap cash, and my commissions were paying for my auto shipment and my fast start bonuses. If you can't afford your auto shipment, enroll 2 people and get them fast start qualified, and then get some wraps and sell those, and then just keep on turning that profit. But I feel once you start to overthink the whole auto shipment and the website thing, you talk yourself up this huge game and you make it something so crazy when it isn't. Get wraps and sell those wraps. And if you don't feel like you can sell wraps, I'm here to tell you, you definitely can. People want these wraps. They want them so badly. You're just not asking the right people. And so that's why blitzing is important, and messaging on social media, but doing all of it. Stick with your strength, but you have to tap into every single one of those outlets towards building your business. And it's so important that you do that, or you're going to be missing out on a lot of people.
I love that. Okay. So your husband was NASA.
Yep. He had interned.
Awesome.
He interned for them, but he was finishing up his master's when we got started.
So awesome. But now he's home full time?
Yep, full time.
So what does he kind of do to help you with your day-to-day business? We have some people that their husbands are home or home part-time now. And that's just a big question is, what does your husband do to help you?
Yeah. So a little backstory on that, Michael wasn't very supportive of the business when we first got started, which a lot of people don't realize that, but he was not supportive at all. And it isn't that like, he just didn't want to see me fall flat on my face. And I think that the biggest thing for him was like, you see so many times that women try to like push themselves or push their husbands to be like an enroller or like doing all of these things. And that like for Michael, that isn't him. And you have to kind of like know like by your husband's like personality how to best include him in your business. And so for Michael, he works our E-Suite and he runs reports for me. And he's doing stuff all over the house and he's taking care of Harper and like he's Mr. Dad, you know, and he'll answer product questions on our team page. He's very, very green. And so like if anyone has like a compensation question or a product question, like he's always answering those, but he doesn't recruit people. I mean, he's not afraid to talk about it or to blitz, but that isn't his strength. And I feel like so many times you bring your husband home and you expect him to be like a Joel Dunn or just to like whatever guy is out there that's like crazy working the business. And that is not always going to happen. And I know for Michael, what even made him like jump on board was me showing him a chart and showing him the compensation plan and showing him like what I'm doing. And I know that we struggled really bad because all he saw was like my head buried in my phone, or I was walking out the door as he was walking in. And so once like I sat him down and I showed him like, this is the promotion I'm working towards. This is what it looks like. This is our compensation plan and how we get paid. And that for him was like a light bulb. And I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? Like, why didn't I just show him and explain to him what I'm doing? Because we just expect them to get it because we get it so easily sometimes. But they don't have a brain cell for it either. And, like they're not doing what we're doing. And I remember one time he was on me because I was on my phone and I was like, I'll drive this 30-minute drive and you can be on my phone and work it. And I remember whenever we got there, he was like, take your phone. I never, ever want anything to do with it again. And so, he does a lot behind the scenes that no one sees. But that's what he loves. And it's where he grows the most. And it's so helpful for the business, but he's not out enrolling people. And I don't expect him to either.
So I think that's so great because when Jake came home, his mom was in network marketing his entire life. Mm-hmm. Had the pink Cadillac and everything. And so he was like all gung ho. So he came home and I was like, okay, you ready? You're ready to do this? And nothing happened. And I was like, what? Where is it? I thought this was in your blood. Like, I thought you had this. No, nothing happened. And then he found a role, and so they just have to find, like, I feel like their little niche. Taxes are like death to me. And
oh gosh,
I won't, like,
the same way.
I try really hard. No, I can't do them. Like, can't. So he deals with all that. He deals with all of our money. I can't do money. I would spend it all, like, in a second.
Absolutely.
I think it's really great for them to be able to find their niche. And if it is enrolling, like, you're very blessed with it.
Yeah. Some guys rock at that, but I'm like, I'll take care of that.
Don't worry. Okay. So when you get a new team member, what's the first thing you do to kind of get them started, to get them fast start qualified, to like, do you like give them a, do it in 24 hours, I'll give you a t-shirt type thing or anything like that?
So and like for reference, I just did a huge, like, getting your new distributor started Zoom with Claire Flores. It's on her YouTube that you guys can go back and watch. So I have like the cliff notes of that. But the first thing that I do is we try to get those 4 loyals in their first 72 hours. So before their kit even comes in the mail. And, it's helping them get their first win as quickly as possible is so important. And for me, I go by, some people call it like the flat tire list. Some people say, like, if you were sick, who would make you chicken noodle soup? Or just if something amazing happens in your life, who are the first 4 people that you call? And so based on that, like once they send me those names over, we'll go through and we'll start getting in touch with those people. And usually those are always the first four to commit to ordering products, to just supporting them. And then if that isn't the case, then we'll go and we'll work on, okay, are we gonna really knock out social media? Is that how we're gonna start your business type of thing? And for that, we always do like a teaser post. And so like if they join in the morning, I'll have them put a teaser post up that they have some really exciting news to announce. And then we'll announce that later on that day. And then if they join at night, we'll put that teaser post up and then they'll announce it that next morning or afternoon. And so always having that teaser post, a lot of people end up watching the page because they want to see what that news is. And from there, once we do like the launch, like just launch their business, we usually can get the 4 customers with that post as well. But I think, getting them in your first 72 hours it should definitely be a goal, a non-negotiable goal. However, there are people that I do enroll who it takes them the whole 30 days. And I mean, it's just everyone is so different, but I always try to help them get that win as quickly as I can, because then they're just so pumped up and excited. And it seems like from there, it's incredible what it does for their business for sure.
I love that. We kind of do the 72-hour, get it quick, get started, chicken soup list is what I've always called it. But
yeah, I love that.
The people that you would call for exciting news, I like that too.
Yeah.
Because my mom would have been my chicken soup list, and she just became a customer in July, or became a distributor in July. So... And
oh my god,
nothing to do with any of the products. And then chocolate greens came out, and she was like, "I love chocolate. What can I say?"
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
That long, 4 years. So okay, conference coming up. Tickets have a couple more hours with the early bird price. What was your first experience at conference? Because I didn't go to a conference until I was presidential, and had just had a baby, and then was about to pop with another one. So I just missed out on 2 conferences in a row. So what was your experience, and what would you say, need to get there, don't need to get there?
Oh my gosh. So I think just getting to an event in general, my first event was a green carpet, and I was an Emerald, and like I said, I was in a place where I wanted to quit. I was staying so busy in my mind, and I was seeing great success leading up to this point. And then I feel like I just stopped having fun. I stopped doing the things that I was doing to get to where I already was. And I was staying busy in my mind. And so I thought I was doing all of these things to grow my business, but I really wasn't doing anything income producing, which I think is a trap that a lot of people can fall under. And so you're exhausted and you think you've done so many things for your business, but none of it was income producing. And so for me, I borrowed $100 from my sister-in-law. I sold wraps, and I ended up going to green carpet. And as soon as I got there, I called my sister, and I was like, I just want to come home. I don't want to be here. And it was me and two other people. And it was Tiffany and her mom. And so, and I didn't want to be there. Okay. And so she was like, just stay. You never know what's going to happen. And I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to stay. And so that night we go to the event, and it was, oh my gosh, it was the most incredible experience that I have ever experienced. It was just, I can't even put it into words. The feeling that came over me when I walked into that room. And I think that so often we feel like crazy people for doing a business like this, and network marketing in general. We know it isn't normal. What we do isn't normal. Self-development, we were just talking about, isn't normal. Dreaming bigger isn't normal. All of these things aren't normal. And sometimes we can feel a little bit like a crazy person. And that's where I was. And so when I walked into this room, the energy that was flowing through it was, oh my gosh, it's makes me just speechless, because I'm it was so crazy. And so I ended up staying. And I remember like my aha moment and like the moment that completely changed my business forever was sitting in the very back and everyone was like on stage. Top earners were on stage and sharing their stories. And I was like, oh my gosh, like all of these people who are up here talking are just broken people. And like, they just put the work in and they're passionate and like, look at where they are now. Some of them were being recognized as top 100, some of them as Millionaires Club. I think that was when Ronnie was introduced into the Millionaires Club. And I was like, if they can all do it, why the heck can't I do this? Like, honestly, why can't I do it? Like, I'm from a small town and she's from a small town. Like, I'm a teen mom and she's a teen mom. Like, it just is so insane that you just realize, like, every single person you meet, like, I'm a normal person. Like, all of the people that you see walking that stage were just normal people. And that, for me, I was like, I'm doing this. I am, like, going to do whatever it takes to make this happen. Because if all of these people can do it, why the heck can't I do it? And so I left that event and I was like crazy on fire. Like, I was so hungry and I was so ready. And I went from Emerald to Double Diamond in 6 days when I left that event. And I just put my head down and like locked arms with all of like my girls who promoted with me. And I was like, we're doing this and we're making it happen. And I don't even care what it takes. And they were like, okay, let's do it. Like, what do we have to do? And I mean, we made it happen. And from there, it's like the rest is history. But I feel like I had like a lid on my business, and it's like a lid that it just appears without you really even realizing it. And so getting to an event and getting, my first conference, I was a triple, and like, it's every single time that you go, this lid gets like thrown off, and then your business just explodes. And it's not because like I really didn't change anything up that I was doing, but I was just like going back to what was working for me. And I was applying my strength in areas that I knew I could grow in. And I was more passionate than ever. And that just like, that shines from you when you're passionate and when you believe in something and you love something. Like, it just radiates from you. And that is what getting to an event did for me. And so, my first conference, I was a triple, and it's crazy to look back. There was like 30 of us who went, and it was so much fun, like just connecting with people. And I grew really close with a lot of the international teams, people that aren't even on my team. Like, I've met some of my best friends who are my sidelines just by going to an event. And it's so much fun to be around everybody. And it's like a family reunion every single time that you go, but you also learn so much. Like, you learn so many tools of what's working for people, and you learn like just different approaches and different ways to introduce the wrap to someone, and how to do a wrap party, and how to launch a new distributor, and how to blitz. And there's so much that you learn that you take away. But the best part is like the friendship and the fun and the freedom, like that comes with that whole like 20,000 people in that room. And it's insane. Like, the energy, you can just totally feel it.
It's so crazy. The one way I like have been able to describe it in my head is, we have this book and we read it to the kids. It's called how to be a bucket. We just call it bucket filler, but it's how to be a bucket filler or something. And you can be a bucket filler or a bucket dipper, and you can fill people's buckets, and that's what conference does. It fills your buckets. But then little things throughout the year dip out of your bucket, and they, pull out of your bucket, like people saying no, people writing, ugly statuses. But conference fills your bucket back up, and you are like on the mountaintop, like you are completely on a high.
Oh, yeah.
You are like ready, like you can conquer the world again. Like, walking out of conference is like, you are like on top of the world.
Yeah.
So I would like, the only way I can really describe it is conference is like your bucket filler, and you have to be full for you to be able to like feel confident and spread all this, just like personal development does. But that's kind of, because we read that book a lot. That's how I we read it. I read it to them.
No, you have to fill your cup. Like,
yes,
you have to fill it.
Yeah. So little things are going to dip out of your bucket, but conference is going to fill it back up.
Oh my gosh. It's just as incredible.
It's so great. Okay, one more question or one more little thing. So before we're done, could you just leave everyone? I've gotten like so many texts saying, this is the best Sim. You're like, she is so great. Just with like a little piece of advice to get us like, through hard time, through until conference, not that there's a slow season or a hard time, but just little end of the year advice, I guess.
Yeah, I would just say that, like, you are in this business, like, you're at the right place at the right time. And so, really, really knowing what you want, like, you have to be the right person in the right place at the right time. And so, what that means is like, what are you doing to take care of your mind? And do you have like a business plan, like a solid business plan down? Because a lot of the time, the reason like when we start spinning our wheels is because we don't know the direction of where we should be going. And so we just sit there and just turn our wheels. Or, I know for me, when I don't have a solid business plan down, I'm not enrolling people because I don't know what my plan is. And so, like, having a solid business plan down is so important, and really like bridging that gap from where you are to where you want to be. And what does that bridge look like for you? What needs to be done that you've been putting off? Are you getting uncomfortable as you need to get to grow to the next level? I know for me that every single level that I have achieved is because I got more uncomfortable every single time. And that's when your business gets blessed, is the more uncomfortable you get, the more successful you will become. And, really leading by example, and just, bosses push and leaders pull, and you can't forget that. You're not anybody's boss. You just have to get your head down and don't look left or right, and just stay focused on you and your business plan, and lock arms with the people who are hungry with you. And, staying focused in what you want, and the vision for your life, and the vision for the life of those on your team, and never losing sight of that when you hit like a bump or a roadblock. And it's going to happen so many times. And maybe you're in that season right now. But you're going to stay in that season until you learn the lessons that God has intended you to learn during that time. And once you learn those lessons, those roadblocks are going to get removed, and then you're able to grow to the next level. But until you're willing to get uncomfortable, and until you're willing to, to learn the lessons that are meant to be learned, and to grow yourself, your business is never going to succeed the growth of your mind. And that's just the truth. And so you have to take care of you. And you have to know, what do you want, and why do you want it, and what's going to stop you from getting it? And always ask yourself, do you truly believe that you can be successful in this business? It's a yes or no question. Do you believe you can be successful? And if your answer is yes, then like, why aren't you where you want to be? What's standing in your way? Are you surrounded by the wrong people? Are you getting uncomfortable enough and wrapping enough people, or blitzing enough people? And if you aren't blitzing and wrapping people, start doing that, and watch what happens within your business when you do that. But, just be you. You don't have to be anybody else when you come into this business. You don't have to be an Alissa Bilyeu to be successful. Go and be yourself, and be true to that. Be true to who you are. And, be vulnerable with what you want and why you want it. And there are people right now who are praying for this opportunity. They're going to bed tonight praying for something like this to come into their lives, because that person used to be me. And I used to cry myself to sleep every stinking night because I wanted more for my life. And I didn't know what more was until I found this business. And so it's not up to you to decide if you're going to give that next person you meet a blitz card or not. That's not up to you. You give them a blitz card, and you share this opportunity, and you share it with every single person that you come across, because you never know people's stories. And I mean, you are in the right place at the right time. And that's what I want to make sure that walking away from this Zoom tonight. And so you have to grow into that right person at the right place at the right time.
That was so good. Yeah. Thanks
for having me.
It was so great. Like, I mean, I'm getting texts, like everyone's saying, amen. Yes. So good. So like, you are amazing. And like,
oh my gosh, I love it.
We cannot wait to all see you at conference, and I can't wait to hug
I
your neck.
can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
I know, not much longer, but thank you so much for getting on.
You are so welcome. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.